You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
Hey there, Screen Beans. Have you heard about Screen Snark?
Rachel, this is an ad break. They aren't screen beans until they listen to the show.
Fine. Potential Screen Beans. You like movies and TV shows, right?
I mean, who doesn't? Screen Snark is a casual conversation about the movies and television shows that are shaping us as we live our everyday lives.
That's right, Matt. We have a chat with at least one incredible guest every episode, hailing from all walks. We've interviewed chefs,
Writers, costumers, musicians,
yoga teachers, comedians, burlesque dancers,
folks in the film and TV industry,
and more.
We'd be delighted for you to join us every other Monday on the Certain POV Podcast Network.
Or wherever you get your podcasts, fresh and tasty off the presses.
What? That's not...
Can I call them Screen Beans now?
Fine.
Screen Beans!
So tune in and we'll see you at the movies or on a couch somewhere.
'Cause you're all Screen Beans now.
You will be mine. Aurora.
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch!
Hi-yo! Mitch! What up, Mitch?
Orderly Mitch.
Hey, Mitch!
Hey,
Mitch!
Hey, Mitch.
Mitch! Hey, Mitch! Hey, Mitch!
What up, Mitch?
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch! Hey, Mitch! Mitch! Hey, Mitch!
Hey, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch! Hey, Mitch!
On tonight's episode of Hey Mitch, I have the second half to the Real Movie Critic versus the Cine-Guy podcast. I have Steven Angulo. How are you, Steven?
Hello, Mitch. Thank you so much for having me. And you mean better half, right?
I do, obviously.
Yes. You hear that, Hans? Even Mitch confirms it.
Oh, we're just going to start a little riff, and I'm okay with this. Yeah, I was on your guys' show, what was that, 2 months ago when we did, what movie was it?
I think it was Cruella and A Quiet Place Part 2.
That's right. Yeah, Cruella and A Quiet Place Part 2. And
Yes.
that was quite the experience. Experience to be on your show. And I, as I understand it, maybe a lot to thank to you for having such the experience with all the skit writing and impressions.
Yeah. I'm like the creative consultant of the show. Like every episode, like different like narrative that I come up with, and it's just a crazy adventure that I drag Hans into. It just makes each episode unique. So it's not just two guys talking in a podcast.
I mean, that is definitely unique, and it's definitely fun. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. I got to hear Han's side of the story. Now, what's your origin story going into podcasting?
Ooh, so at first I gave YouTube like a shot when I was in high school. They almost like, typical like vlogs, talk about funny stuff and everything. And then once I reached college, kind of stopped thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. It wasn't until my senior year when I started dorming for the first time, when there was an opening for a radio show with my college radio called Scar Radio. And my best friend was like one of the people like in charge of the radio over there. So he asked me, hey, you should do a show. We have openings. All right. So the Cine-Guy was born. We reviewed a new movie each week, and it was just, a crazy little adventure that we went on, and it was a lot of fun to discuss movies, and it kind of like kept going once after I graduated. So I went from SoundCloud to then YouTube, and then next thing you know, I get a call from Hans like, hey, I got a podcast, come along. So I guest starred in one episode with him and Addie Thomas, our producer. And then next thing you know, they're like, Steven, we want you to be the co-host for this new show. Back then, it was called the Real Movie News and Reviews. I'm like, really? And next thing you know, the Cine-Guy has, I guess, reborn, because it was already born for almost a year now.
So, I mean, between YouTube, Spotify, and then podcasting, like, which one like gave you the most trouble?
Ooh, I guess so. It was actually SoundCloud, And the thing with SoundCloud is they only give you
SoundCloud, not Spotify.
Yeah, it was SoundCloud.
Sorry.
Thing with that is that it only gives you like a few like storage space that's for free. And I'm thinking like, okay, I have like 4 episodes down. I don't want to pay, so let me just go to YouTube so I can save my money because I'm like a recent college student. It's been like 2 years since I've been in school. I'm not made of dough. I'm still paying loans.
And so it was just the fact that SoundCloud was you only got so much for free.
Yeah, for sure.
So, when you started out podcasting, or even when you started out YouTube, like, did you have nerves? Did you get nervous when you were, starting out?
Oh, yeah. So, funny thing, with the radio show in college, my very first episode was super unorganized. It was like, okay, I finished discussing all my plot points. I still have like 10 minutes left. What do I do now? So it's kind of like, next thing you know, I'm just dragging, I'm repeating things. And oh my gosh, even like the introduction was terrible. So back then, which came to YouTube, I would say, hello, movie people. Welcome to the show. Back then I said, hello, Gordonites. As if the school is the only people listening to the show. No, it's actually can be broadcast through a website for anyone to hear. So Gordonites, people are like, I'm not from Gordon.
Is that also when the Cine-Guy was born in college?
Yeah, that's when the Cine-Guy was born.
So why come up with that name? Why go with the cinema side instead of the movie side?
Ooh, I'm actually not sure. I guess like it was a whole play for words because back then when I first started YouTube in high school, I was called Directorman. That's because everybody in my school knew I wanted to be a film director. So like, oh, Directorman, you want to do movies, it fits. And that was my nickname in high school, Directorman. You see my yearbook messages. Go with Directorman. Have fun in college, Directorman. Like, I was Directorman for like 2 years now. And then I decided, what, I don't want to be Directorman anymore. I retired the name, and then next thing you know, Cine-Guy was born in college.
Well, I mean, obviously with the podcast, the way that you have it structured and all the stuff that you write out, like, should it be more of Writer Guy now instead of Director Man?
It should be like mentally unstable man, because my gosh, the stuff we come up with in each show is just it goes into chaos pretty much. Like when me and Hans, us together, is like that's too much power for one show to have. We just go off the rails, and next thing you know, it just makes like amazing, like funny content, and it just makes a good show.
So how long have you been doing the podcast now?
So when they first brought me in as a guest, that was in 2019 to discuss Toy Story 4.
Okay.
And I guess I'm actually getting like the whole like gist of it, of just me and Hans, because we had audio troubles when it was just me, Hans, and Addie. Mm-hmm. So they said, okay, let's redo, but this time it's just going to be you and Hans. So it's kind of like a taste of like, okay, what's to come as time progresses. And yeah, so now look at us now. We've been podcasting for almost like 2.5 years now. Well, on my end, Hans is almost like 3. And it's just been so much fun, an amazing experience.
And have you always done it like over the computer, over the internet? Or did you guys used to record in person? I know Hans is no longer like close to you vicinity wise.
Yes. I think we recorded in person once. That was when Hans came back home to like visit his parents. Yeah, we went to go see a movie, and then we came back to his place to discuss it and record the show. But other than that, it's mostly been like over the internet, like via Skype or Zoom, and now we're doing Google Meet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically either way is fine. It works out. Even the times when he was here during the summer, it was like, oh, his house is really noisy because his brother's there with his kids. So it's like maybe it's best we do it separately. That way we can at least like have some organization with the shows.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously it worked out well for pandemic wise. Also, like everything was doing virtual and over the internet, so you guys were already ready to do that.
Oh yeah, that pandemic was something else. Oh man, I'm sure Hans told you about Corona Classics, right?
Yes, he did mention that.
Yeah,
so you were well. I assume by the time, so at the time when you couldn't go see movies in the theater, you were going over classic movies.
Yeah, for sure. It was like, you know what? There's some new movies coming out, like, on-demand rentals or streaming on Netflix or like Hulu and everything. So we thought, let's make some themes. Let's each day we'll have like a different theme and we'll discuss the movies. And I guess I think the most fun we ever had was making the promos for each episode. It was just like filming ourselves having little sketches and everything. My favorite ones were like we started lip syncing and dance to Usher's "Yeah." Shorty got down, trying to get me, and then it just progressed when we have guests. Like I think our good buddy Pat Edwards, who co-hosts the show Let's Rewatch and Certain POV. We made the sketch make it seem like he was an alien, and next thing you know, he starts talking gibberish, and we were like terrified. Oh my gosh, what have we done? So yeah, each promo was a lot of fun to make.
And now you just incorporate all that fun into the actual show.
Indeed,
with your spoiler elevator and your guests that always enter in the show.
Yeah, my horrible impressions. Oh my gosh. That's my mark on the show. It's just me doing the voices. Penny, go back to the show. This is the wrong network. Sorry about that. My gosh, they follow me everywhere.
They do. And it's understandable. Quite understandable. So how is it that you went about or still go about picking your movies? Are there any movies that you particularly don't do? Any type of movies?
Horror. Straight up terror.
No
Hans
horror
and I,
movies.
No. Hans and I are not big horror movie fans because, I for one hate jump scares. Like, I don't want something coming at my face and making me flinch. No, I don't like that. That's why I don't like going on roller coasters. I don't like that pressure on my chest. It's like pushing it. I call it like a really bad chestgasm. Like, I don't want that. Nobody wants that.
No.
But
so,
I guess
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It depends on the movie, though. Like, we did review the recent Candyman movie that was just straight up a horror film. But I guess it depends on the movie and the story. If we know it's not, dedicated to, like, jump scares, like The Conjuring, then we might give it a check out. Like, when we saw A Quiet Place Part 2, that's technically classified as horror, but to us, it's more like a thriller because it's not, like, in-your-face scares, pretty much.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. I was like, how'd you do with Candyman, which I know you did recently, and Quiet Place too, when we did together. So, what was your overall review of Candyman?
Oh, it was phenomenal. He had a thing. Okay, this is something I haven't told Hans, but he's gonna find out right now. Mitch, you're the first person to hear this, and anyone tuning into the episode.
Exclusive, right here.
Exclusive, yes. I actually got to the theater late for Candyman. Because I was coming in from work, and I work in Boston. I had to go all the way to Somerville to the place called Assembly Row, and there's the AMC. That's where I got my ticket from. And I was almost like 10 minutes late. But I'm there like, it's a horror film. I'm in no rush. But then as I watched the movie and it progressed, I'm like, oh man, what did I miss? Oh man.
Usually the first 10 minutes of a horror movie is the first kill, right?
Well, actually, no, I was still there for the first kill. I think it was more like the opening credits and then I guess one scene that I missed.
Oh.
But I still got the general idea of the story and what was happening.
Had you watched some of the original Candyman movies?
Only the first one, and that was during the pandemic. It was on Netflix. Check it out. It wasn't a straight up horror, in-your-face slasher movie, but it was entertaining. I'll give it that. I mean, Tony Todd has the best horror monster voice. Be my victim. It's just perfect.
I mean, that was pretty good. That was really good right there.
Oh, thank you. I did a spoiler alert with that one. All I do was flirt with the female guest. Yeah, I made Candyman a horn dog on our show. So,
I mean, I feel like you shouldn't be tempting the fates that way, but okay, you do you.
I've done worse on the show with my impressions. So,
so then how does the new one? And I don't know if remake is the best way to put it, but how's it hold up to the original?
I'd say it's a spiritual sequel for sure.
Okay.
Since the main character is technically the baby from the first movie.
Okay.
And it's all about legacy, this movie really lived up to its name. It didn't focus on jump scares and all that stuff for terror, and mostly atmosphere and cinematography, which was beautifully filmed and directed. Wow, Nia DaCosta, I salute you for making this movie.
What is the best movie that you've seen this year so far and got to review?
That I have to review?
That you got to review.
Oh, that I got to review. Ooh, we've had a lot of like hits or misses because movies kept getting pushed back and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the last extremely good one that got like over a 9 on my rating scale was In the Heights.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes, I love music. I love musicals.
Say, are you a big musical fan?
I'm a huge musical fan. Oh my gosh, Mitch, if you were here right now, I will show you my album full of like signed playbills and cast members that took pictures with meeting at the stage doors. I've seen so many tours that come to Boston, and I cannot wait to see more when the theaters open up again to see like a live show.
Cool, very cool. What do you do to like get your mind ready for what you're going to be doing in your podcast? Because you do have a lot of like skits and voices and stuff like that. Like, how do you prep yourself?
Alcohol, plenty of drugs.
Really? Lots of them?
Kidding. No. Hans and I, we don't drink and we don't do any of that stuff. No. Well, basically, we simply like outline what we're gonna discuss. Like, okay, talk about this trailer, talk about this form movie news, then jump into this review section, and all like the skits and everything. Well, back when we did like a narrative, so my idea for 2021 was to do like a narrative in which we had to like face off, an antagonist, and we just released a special episode called The Final Battle, where we fight off with the antagonist, kind of like an endgame type parody. And so we just recently released. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I had a blast editing it. And so yeah, basically like each story I plan ahead of time. Like Mitch, when you came in the show and we were doing freestyling, I wrote all the raps like a week before. But overall, like most of the chaos and the funny stuff is like it's mostly like improvised. It just happens on the go, and we welcome it entirely.
So writing those raps, is that a thing that you do in your spare time? Do you write raps? Is rap music your go-to?
No, I cannot rap for my life, as you can tell from when you came on the show. No, that was just to fit the narrative and fit the storyline, pretty much. Like whatever like fits the story, then I will get to work on that, even if it means writing a freestyle rap.
And it wasn't just one. You had to write quite a few freestyle raps. I mean, you had the three of us plus the Oompa Loompas to write.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, if it fits the narrative, then I'll get to work on it, no matter how complicated it can be.
What's the worst movie that you've had to review this year?
Oh my gosh. I actually have a list of top 10 horrible films we have to discuss.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I'll say that for the show. But like, I guess recently a movie that just really disappointed me, and I was surprised because it has an all-star cast. It was The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds in it. Like, the first Hitman movie I actually enjoyed. Was a lot of fun seeing the chemistry between Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds. But this one, the second one was just so stupid. It was not funny. It was such a waste of these actors. Oh my gosh. Hans, listen to this. He's gonna be like, Steven, stop hating on the film. Like, no, this movie was terrible. My gosh.
Well, that's a little preview for the top worst movies of the year then.
Top 10 worst movies of 2021. That might come out like next year, like early winter, like maybe January or February. We try to say that for like during award season. That's
fair. Just a little counter programming for people.
For sure.
What other do you listen to other podcasts?
Occasionally, especially most like I do like to show support for our fellow podcasters in our network, CernPOV.com.
Mm-hmm.
Like, recently Hans and I guest starred in an episode of Another Pass with Case Aiken, in which we discussed the 90s movie Godzilla, which was horrible when I rewatched it as an adult. And I liked it as a kid because, yay, Godzilla. But then as an adult, you're like, wow, this was bad. What was I thinking as a child? Like, the humor is terrible. The acting is like ridiculous. And my gosh, the alleged sexism is like all over the place too. And what kind of Godzilla design was that? My gosh, he had like he had a horrible back.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's another pass I've been on a few times, and that's a lot of fun. So
indeed.
Then where did you get when you came up with your format for your show? Like, how did you? I mean, it's pretty original, as I've come to say already. But like, did you model yourself off of anything else?
So when I first came in, it was called the Real Movie News and Reviews, and all we did was just discuss like pretty much like the same form we follow now, but almost like okay, movie news, trailers, and then we take a break, and then we just actually there was no break beforehand. It was just movie news, trailers, and then movies, and then that was it. But then, like, as it progressed, our producer, Addie Thomas, suggested, let's make it more about, like, since you guys like antagonizing each other, let's make it more, like, about verses. Like, Real Movie Critic versus the Cine-Guy. And so that kind of expanded the show by adding a versus section where Hans and I would go head-to-head on, like, something movie-related, like a top 5 list or answering, like, movie questions, testing our knowledge, or, you know, giving, like, prediction, like, what's coming, like, different franchises. And next thing you know, our show went from like less than an hour to like almost an hour and a half. So we would take like a break and put like a little ad for a different show, and then move on to the movie reviews.
Okay, so yeah, you pretty much kept the same thing, but now you've added in your fun. What is it? What is it that you'd like to see happen with the podcast?
Get paid.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
That's the ultimate goal. Yes, I mean, it's a lot of fun because the best thing about this podcast is that I get to utilize my creative side, especially with the narratives and the skits. Like this allowed me to show people like you know how I am as a creator when it comes to visual storytelling. Because I majored in communication with a film concentration, and I'm not making any movies at the moment. So this podcast like my way of like you know showing my skill for storytelling. And that I have like a creative mind as well.
Now, Hans talked about it last week, and then you mentioned a little bit before, but you two knew each other before starting to podcast with each other. What's the origin story to that? How did your friendship start?
So Hans and I went to the same church together, and our parents did know each other, and I was cool with his parents too. And yeah, he was the youth director, and he was the coolest dude alive, pretty much. Like, I think the first movie we saw together was that Russell Crowe Noah movie that we took we took our fathers and some elders, and that was a mistake, taking church elders to that fake biblical epic. We were like, why is Noah trying to kill his grandchildren? Did I miss that in the book of Genesis? Like, what? So yeah, that kind of started the whole like, you know, our whole movie adventure right there. Next thing you know, we're watching the 5th Mission Impossible movie together. We're discussing movies like, hey, have you seen this one recently? Oh, are you going to see this one? I cannot wait for this one that's going to come out.
Cool. Very cool. And just blossomed from there.
Indeed.
So
you can never get rid of me. I'm like a horrible zit that will not go away. Hans keeps popping, but I keep growing. Like, what's up, Hans? There's more. I got more pus.
Just strike you down and come back stronger, huh?
Oh, yes. Hans, you listening? You're never going to get rid of me. Forever and ever. We're like Jay and Silent Bob. He's my heterosexual life partner.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
He hates when I say that.
When before we started recording, you had mentioned that you went to this weekend. You went to a Comic-Con, or you went to a comic convention. I don't need San Diego coming after me. So
I wish I went to San Diego.
Which con did you go to?
So this weekend I went to Fan Expo Boston. It's like the Boston Comic Con here in the city. And my gosh, I think this is my either 6th or 7th Comic Con that I've been to. And it was a blast. I got to meet Kevin Conroy, the real Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cool dude. I mean, I told him like, you know, well, thing is, I didn't really speak to him that much because the guy in front of me kind of stole every word I had to say. My gosh, the dude in front of me, I was waiting for my turn to get a picture with Kevin, and this guy just went out. He's like, "Oh, Kevin Conroy, I worship you. You are Batman. I will die for you. I will kill anybody who says you are not Batman." I'm just there like, wow, okay, dude. And then comes me like, hi, thanks for my childhood. Yeah, there's that. And also, I got to meet Robert Patrick, the T-1000.
Nice.
He was super cool. I thought, let me talk about, you know, Terminator, his new movie, The Protege with him. But no, you know what we spend the majority talking about?
What?
My leather jacket. He loved it so much. He was like, where'd you get that jacket, bro? I love it. Where'd you get it? I'm like, oh, I got it for Christmas. I think Macy's. Oh, Levi's. I have so many, but not that one. I want it. Awesome, dude. Yeah, super cool dude. He fist bumped me, and Oh man, it's Robert Patrick. You gotta love him.
Yeah, no, who doesn't love the T-1000?
Exactly. No blaze stuck in me, so we're good.
There you go.
I think the jacket saved me right there.
I mean, but he might go and replicate you somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, if he does, then I'll give him the jacket myself. Like, oh, you look great. You can have it, my friend.
Okay, so I haven't actually gone to a con since the beginning of the pandemic. What was it like? What was that experience?
Ooh. So the first one I went to this year was Terrific Con in Connecticut. And it felt like an ordinary con, masks were optional, especially if you're vaccinated. And yeah, I met some actors, I took pictures with the cosplayers, I bought some artwork and everything. And yeah, it felt like a regular con. Now, as for Boston, that was more stricter because masks were mandatory. Everybody wore a mask. As for the actors, like you want to take a picture with a celebrity, they will take it off, but then put it right back. And as for, I like to meet comic creators as well and get them signed my comic books and my merchandise. Every picture I took with them was masked. So I met like Pat Broderick, Keith Williams, Jason Badawer. They were all masked. And let me just say, Jason Badawer, he wrote a new Harley Quinn and Joker graphic novel called Harley and Joker Criminal Insanity. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, dude, his pitch to me is the reason why I bought the book. Nice. Apparently it's the most realist Joker graphic novel ever made. It makes the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix look like nothing, pretty much, because this book was actually reviewed by an actual psychologist who gave each like Batman villain like an actual criminal examination. Uh-huh. So this is real. I cannot wait to finish reading it.
Very cool. So, as a comic book reader, what's on your pull list every Wednesday?
Ooh, every Wednesday?
Or Tuesday and Wednesday?
Oh, gotcha. Ooh. Well, I enjoy comics for sure. Like at Boston Comic Con, oh my gosh. I went all out with my haul. Like, not only did I buy that graphic novel, I also bought this graphic novel because like the art was really, really nice to me. According to her, it's about like basically it's like the look of like a young female high school student whose dad is a superhero. So it's kind of like, the whole like a father and offspring when it comes to superheroes. Mm-hmm. And then I've just bought like a bunch of like $1 comic books. Well, in this case, it was buy 30 for $25, and my gosh, my tote bag, it was arm day for me that day because that was heavy. Wow, it's a lot of comic books.
Pat Edwards would be very proud of you.
Excellent.
Do you have a go-to character? Like comic book character?
Batman.
It's
hands down Batman. He's like, because Batman, he has no power. It's just like a rich boy with a Halloween costume, but he's just so cool. Like
he is.
I mean, that's why I was more excited to meet Kevin Conroy than I was to meet George Newbern at Terrific Con, and he's the voice of Superman in Justice League, the Justice League cartoon. But yeah, George Newbern was like, "Hey, cool, Superman, you're my child." Then Kevin Conroy, Batman, oh my gosh.
Okay, so then what are some of your fandoms? What are some of the things that you geek out about other than Kevin Conroy?
Oh, ever since I was like 2, hands down Star Wars. Yes, I saw the original trilogy on VHS with my father. I've seen every prequel movie in theaters, and I enjoyed every one of them, even Phantom Menace. So come at me, Phantom Menace. And then I also saw the sequels in theaters as well, which I actually took my father to see them all because he's the one who introduced me to Star Wars. So you know what, Dad? Come on, let's go watch the continuation. I apologize for Rise of Skywalker. I don't know what they were thinking with that one.
What about now that with Disney Plus we have all the expansions, DLC essentially of all these of Star Wars now? Are you into the expanding story?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm a big Clone Wars fan. I think Dave Filoni is like he's pretty much like the next George Lucas incarnate. Like this guy is the next guy to take on Star Wars next to Jon Favreau. I love The Mandalorian. I enjoyed The Bad Batch, was like a great continuation of Clone Wars. It's just a perfect way to expand the story and the universe and give us new characters to love, because without Clone Wars, I would not appreciate the Clone Troopers that much. I just saw them as like, oh, clones who became the Stormtroopers later on. But now I'm like, oh, you gotta appreciate Rex, Fives, The Bad Batch, Cody. They're just all awesome.
All right, so then what's the collection look like now? If you're in a fandom. Like, I know you got some collectibles. What's your Star Wars collectibles?
Oh, so my Star Wars collectibles kind of like died down when I grew up, because I don't know what happened to all of them. I had like an abundance of a Star Wars, the little Star Wars action figures that are 4 inches, Star Wars action figures. I had a ton of them. I always like play like fake battles with my cousin and everything. And now I don't know what happened to all of them. They just disappeared. The only ones that survived were Boss Nass, Darth Vader, and Yoda, and Jar Jar. Everybody else, like, where's my Obi-Wan? Where's Mace? Wait, what happened to the little Jake Lloyd Anakin? So, yeah, but other than that, I mean, I guess like with fandoms, I'm mostly big on like comic books, like Marvel and DC. Like my comic collection, oh my gosh. I don't even know where I'm gonna put those 30 books that I got from Comic-Con, because I have no space on my shelf left at all. It's all like DC and Marvel comics. I got like a bunch of graphic novels as well, and another comic book franchise that I also enjoyed growing up was the Archie comics.
Oh, nice.
Yes, which is why I hate that Riverdale show with a passion. That is not Archie. What? He is a clumsy teenager having everyday teenager problems. He's not having sex with his teacher. What is that abomination on TV? I will find the showrunners for Riverdale and punch them in the face personally.
I mean, the showrunner for Riverdale is also one of the writers for the comic book.
Well, then shame on him. He needs to be fired. He needs to be burned at the stake. That show is an abomination. Damn you, CW.
They got to change it up for the melodrama on the television. So,
my gosh, everything is sexualized nowadays. It's just so stupid. Wait till that live action Powerpuff Girls shows comes out.
I don't know if that's ever going to come out. They've had so many issues with it and starts and stop, and now Chloe Bennett's left the show. Like, I don't think it's going to happen.
Did you read the leaked scripts?
I did not. Did you?
Oh my gosh, it sounded awful. It was like, Bubbles, stop posting to your Instagram. Like, that's not the Powerpuff Girls. It was just so stupid. And then something about like ghosting men. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. It was just ridiculous. They were gonna kill a lot of childhoods if they released that show.
Melodrama for television. It makes sense. So then, talking to television, what are the shows that you love to binge? What do you watch? What are you watching regularly?
So I love the comic book shows, including the CW ones, like the Flash, the Arrowverse. I've seen a lot of them. I finished Arrowverse. I'm still on the recent season of the Flash and Supergirl. I'm trying to finish up Black Lightning, which I have no idea why they canceled that immediately. That could have gone for like at least 2 more seasons, but you know how people can be. So there's that. Also, like the Disney Plus shows of Marvel, like Loki, WandaVision. Those were a lot of fun to discuss in the show. So did Hans mention our little side show called Sparring Screens?
He did not.
So it's kind of like us taking a break from the movies to discuss TV shows that had to do with the movies. Like we've done like the Marvel shows. We did the Mighty Ducks TV show that had to do with the original movies. And yeah, we also did the Bad Batch, since it ties in with the Star Wars universe. So it's a lot of fun watching those TV shows. And other than that, I'm more of like a funny show type of guy. I started watching the new season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I cannot believe is the final one because I love that show.
So do I.
Yes, indeed. And I'm on episode 2 right now of season 8. And what's unique about the season is that they had to switch it up at the last minute to make it fit with the whole political climate with like BLM and like police brutality and everything. And let me say that first episode was a perfect representation of what was going on in today's times.
Yeah, no, the season so far has been quite the departure from the regular show, dealing with the real life world crisis or issues. So
Indeed.
it's interesting, and it's going to be interesting last season. With the whole sparring screens, it sounds amazing because you're going to have a lot of material. It looks like everybody's kind of working towards having TV shows and movies integrate with each other more often than not now, especially the stuff on Disney Plus. So
For sure. Like, we can't wait for like the upcoming shows like Hawkeye. We heard Pixar was going to make a Big Hero 6 TV show that we cannot wait to watch and discuss. And now, if I could just get someone to discuss that Turner and Hooch TV show, even though it's getting a bad rep in our Discord network, they were like, "What have they done to that classic Tom Hanks movie?" So we'll see what happens with that one. I am watching that show, so we'll see if anyone's taking the fall with me, so we can talk about it on an episode.
Yeah, we have to find out. And then you got Peacemaker coming out, which is going to tie in directly to the Suicide Squad. What did you think of the Suicide Squad?
It was actually a lot of fun. It was just pure James Gunn craziness. I mean, I'll admit the humor, I only laughed at a few bits because, I found some funny because it was the typical, awkward humor, in your face. Kind of like, oh, that just happened? Oh, he died. Oh, okay. And also really bloody. But it's just a big, bloody, gory, fun spectacular, pretty much. It's like a whole derivative from the previous DC movies. And you know what? At this point, we don't know what's going on with the universe, so we welcome it. Anything goes to make a fun comic book movie. That's
right. Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I wouldn't say it's the best movie, but it was definitely fun. It was fun all the way through. I enjoyed myself.
Indeed.
What's the thing that you enjoy or geek out about that people wouldn't suspect?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, everybody knows that I'm a big nerd and everything. I pretty much show the whole world, I'm going to Comic-Con. So I'm like, oh yeah, Steven's a nerd. We know. I told people I love Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and all that stuff. I'm not sure. I guess something that's, pretty obvious. I enjoy the classic Cartoon Network shows, or basically classic shows from my childhood, pretty much. To me, the new shows like Steven Universe, Loud House, they're not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I like the class. I like Johnny Bravo, Ed and Eddie, Cow and Chicken, the fun Fairly Odd Parents, the original SpongeBob's. It's just fun and nostalgic. That's why I despise that Camp Coral spinoff show on Paramount Plus, because it completely contradicts everything from SpongeBob. No, SpongeBob and Stan did not meet at camp. They met when they were adults. Which is kind of why I gave the third movie not a very good reception. It just contradicts everything. And I don't know, Steven Hillenburg, no, we are so sorry that this is happening to your legacy, man.
What would be the best celeb interaction you could have in the next con that you go to?
Ooh, the next one?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I guess it depends. I might be a little worn out for Comic Cons this year.
Okay.
But if I still have some energy and the time, I might go to the one in Rhode Island, and I would love to meet the cast of Cobra Kai. That is one of my go-to favorite Netflix shows. Because of that, I saw every thing. Before, I never saw any of the Karate Kid movies. Only the Jaden Smith one.
Okay.
But thanks to Cobra, but I knew the lore, with Ralph Macchio and William Zabka and everything. So because of that, I got to rewatch the original movie because I guess they were free on Prime for a while. Even the Hilary Swank one, which I actually still enjoyed. I know why I get a lot of hate. I guess because it's still Pat Morita, and everyone loves Pat Morita.
Right.
So yeah, if I do end up going to Rhode Island, I want to meet William Zabka, Martin Cove, maybe Cholo Maridueña, because he's gonna be our new Blue Beetle in the HBO Max movie coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty awesome. Anybody that you don't know is going to be at a con that you would love to see?
Ooh, well, I know maybe the bigger stars, it would be pretty cool. But I doubt we'll ever see Ben Affleck or maybe Chris Evans. Well, I think Chris Evans and Tom Hiddleston were at I think it was called Ace Comic Con, but they were what, $200 for a picture with them? No, thank you. They should be paying me to go see them. You already make millions of dollars playing dress up. So, but
yeah,
somebody,
Sorry, go ahead.
Someone I would love to meet. He's actually my celebrity. Like my favorite celebrities is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Nice.
I love Hamilton. Have you seen the movie Vivo on Netflix?
I have not.
Oh, if you love animated musicals, you will love this one. It's heartwarming. It has amazing music, and it's just like it's pure like Latin fun. But it's a really well done animated film. You will enjoy this. But I
Okay.
doubt Lynn's gonna go to any Comic Cons because he's busy right now. He's got like 4 projects this year.
He's
Vivo
got all
was
the
just number
projects
2.
going. Yeah.
Yes. Encanto and Tick Tick Boom are coming soon. He's gonna have a blast at the Oscars.
Yeah, those Ace Comic Cons, they are a little bit. I think they're a little bit more on the pricey side, but they do get the bigger celebrities. But if I remember, because I haven't gone to one, but they had one in Phoenix before the pandemic. They don't do Q&As. I don't think. I think they just have a moderator go up there and talk to those big stars, and then that's about it.
Oh wow, no Q&As?
I don't think they do Q&As.
Oh man, because when I was at Boston Comic Con, I went to Michael Rooker's panel, and you know how his Q&A was?
I've been to one of his Q&As. They're pretty great.
Yes, it was him wearing a tutu and a Hawaiian shirt and like a straw hat. He was running back and forth all over the audience answering questions with holding a mic. And I'm there like saying like, do I want to ask a question? So then at the last minute I'm like, I got a question. But then it was time was up like, oh man, I was asking to be on the podcast. Sorry, Hans. We could have had Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a tutu and a straw hat, but he did the same thing at the one that I went to. He ran around the room answering questions and stuff, which is so different than what you see in normal Q&A. So that's pretty awesome.
Indeed.
Top 5 movie genres for you.
Uh-oh. No, it is about movies, but genres. Okay, so superhero,
Okay.
action,
Okay.
comedy,
Okay.
drama,
All right.
and I'll just go with animated.
Oh, okay. Very
But
cool.
me, I'm a very easy to please kind of guy. So if it sparks my interest, then I'll go check it out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, no, I mean, obviously not horror and thriller in there. So
Thriller, yes. Horror, no. Like you won't catch me on a slasher movie, even though I told Hans, okay, how about this? I'll watch the second Halloween movie coming out this October, and you watch Scream 5 because I know where am I touching a Scream movie. That was the bane of my childhood, and I didn't even see it. I just saw it was a TV spot, like, Ghostface, ew. So no, thank you. Hans always making fun of me for that, but I know his weakness too. So we just go back and forth.
Fair. That's fair. So then the next question is going to be, what's the top 5 movies for you?
Oh my gosh, that's like the worst question asked to a movie guy like myself.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see if I can come up with it. So in order, or can I just be like random?
No, just top 5. It doesn't have to be in any order.
Sure thing. Schindler's List, The Dark Knight, Star Wars. Oh my gosh, something to think about. I'll give it a Joker because that film blew me away.
Okay.
And what else? Oh, a good one. Okay, I'm gonna just throw one in. RoboCop. There we go.
RoboCop. Okay.
Yeah,
so
just
you
to
have
throw it in.
4 like very heavy films right there, and then RoboCop, which is great. I love it. I feel like RoboCop is going to fall into the next question I was going to ask you. Your top 5 comfort films. What's because you're not going to just throw in Schindler's List one day when you want to relax. So what's the comfort film for you?
No, if I want to cry, then I will happily listen to Liam Neeson going, I could have got more. That always gets me. The first time I saw it on TV, like, oh my gosh, why do I feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's powerful. Comfort movies, I'm gonna throw in Coco because I have a tradition where I will watch that every Day of the Dead.
Nice.
And it's also my favorite Pixar movie as well.
Okay.
Any Star Wars movie because they're always worth a rewatch. They're just so much fun. The Dark Knight trilogy, any of those films. What else? There's a comfort movie. Well, like I said, anything that I find enjoyable, then I will definitely enjoy. So I'm gonna throw in The Incredibles. That's a fun one. That one and something random. How about any of the Indiana Jones movies? There you
Nice.
go.
Okay. Even Crystal Skull.
Hey, why not? I saw it bootleg, so I still enjoyed it.
I love it. Well, speaking of, what's a movie that you followed, you went and saw because you like an actor in it, but then you were like, oh man, this is just terrible.
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? That I saw because I like an actor in it.
Or even a director. You're like, okay, you know what? I like Guy Ritchie films. I'll go watch King Arthur and Legend of the Sword.
Uh-oh. I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
Something to think about. I mean, so I do admire George Lucas as a director for sure. Although, can I point out what was the worst idea he ever came with?
What's that?
Have you seen the animated Disney movie called Strange Magic?
No.
Don't. Oh my gosh. So his whole thing was like he was trying to make Star Wars for girls. So he made a parody of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
And it was like a jukebox musical and every song was about love. And it was like, oh my gosh. It was just plain annoying. No, George, what were you thinking? I think he's like, you know, I'm worth billions of dollars. Let me just do whatever I want. And he's like, okay, that didn't work out. I'm done with movies then, which is good. But a movie that I saw because of the director. I'll do this. So I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I love almost all his movies except for one, and that was his first one called Following.
Okay. I
saw it on DVD back during when I was living in Los Angeles for a bit, and I was like, oh boy, Chris Nolan's first movie, it should be awesome. I was bored the entire time. I was like, what am I even looking at? Okay, a guy who follows people. What's even going on? I don't know. So to me, Chris' first film was Memento. I don't know what Following is.
Yeah, there you go. You don't stay with that.
Yeah.
I think we're okay with that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So as a podcaster, movie reviewer, what are you looking forward to for the rest of this year?
To finally watch No Time to Die.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. They're going to push it back again.
No! Don't you dare jinx it like that, Mitch. I'm very sensitive about this. I waited a whole year to watch the next James Bond movie. I've been listening to Billie Eilish's new song the entire year now. It better come out in November. I want to watch more Bond. This is Daniel Craig's last outing, and I want to enjoy it.
Fair. I take it you're a big Bond fan then?
Oh, yeah. I've seen like almost every movie except for one, and that was Moonraker.
Why have you not watched Moonraker yet? It's funny.
I know, but like, I guess like the opportunity to watch it, you know, like most of the James Bond films I've seen were rentals from my library, like on VHS.
Okay.
Like
All right.
View to a Kill, For Your Eyes Only, all that stuff. The rest are like DVDs that I owned or I randomly saw somewhere. Or on television, like I saw You Only Live Twice and on Her Majesty's Secret Service on television like recently. But Moonraker, I can't find it anywhere. So when I have the time and when I find it, then I'll watch Moonraker finally.
All right, listeners, that's your new task is to find Moonraker on DVD or streaming for Steven here.
Yes. I can finally complete my collection. I cannot call myself a Bond fan and now watch Moonraker. Like, you haven't watched the cheesiest one? And I sat through Octo and I can't see the other word. The one with the circus and he dressed as a clown.
There you go. What? Then going into the next Bond film, who would you like to see play Bond?
Ooh, I know everyone's like Idris Elba, but I think he's a little too old for Bond.
think so too.
And a lot of like the honorable mention include like Tom Hardy, Tom Hiddleston, Henry Cavill. But do you know who I actually wouldn't mind seeing? Who's a little younger and I could actually pull off Bond?
Who's that?
Richard Madden.
Okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan. I just started reading the second book. I haven't seen any of the TV show, but I hear he's really good as Robb Stark, and he's gonna be doing an Eternals movie as well. So I can't wait for that movie. So we'll see how he goes. If he does go in the Eternals, then I'll say like, yep, he should be our Bond.
There you go. All right. Yeah. Check out that. Was it Bodyguard?
Oh, that
On
Netflix show?
Yeah.
I do want to check that one out as well. Yes.
Yeah, you should check that out too. That's really
That's
good.
kind of why it made me think like he should be Bond because like watching him in the suit, all clean shaven, like he could pull it off, and he's British too.
Yep. There you
Just
go.
watching him in a suit.
So, what's the movie you're not looking forward to this year? To the rest of this year to have to talk about?
Oh my gosh. There was one, but thank goodness it got pushed back. Even though now because that Han's gonna make me watch it, and that was the new Jackass movie coming out soon.
Yep.
I think it just looks so stupid and like a horrible Impractical Jokers type movie. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch it, but Han's making me watch it, and now it's pushed back to February next year. So he's like, I have no choice now. I gotta watch Jackass forever. I can't. I run out of excuses.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. You know what? It might get pushed to streaming, so you don't have to go to the theater to watch it.
Yay! But if it's Prime, he's gonna force me to watch it. Like, Steven, I know you don't have Prime, but I do. Get on Skype right now. I don't wanna.
How do you guys? How do you decide like you're gonna watch a streaming movie or movie in the theater? Like, do you just watch everything?
Well, it depends on the weekend and like how big the movie is. Like if it's a Marvel movie, like a superhero movie, okay, we dedicate the episode to just the movie. No news, no trailers, just discussing the movie. If it's like any other films, like okay, what's new and fresh for the weekend? Like I think last time we did like 3 movies, and that was like The Protege and Reminiscence and a different movie. I forgot the name of it. Oh, it was Beckett, the one with Darren David Washington. It's kind of like whatever's like recent, we will discuss. Or whatever's like the hype, then we will discuss it.
Would you think of Reminiscence? Like I thought it was kind of too slow.
Just one word, Mitch. I was like, is something gonna happen? This looks like a Christopher Nolan knockoff. I know it's by his brother, but like, come on, you could have done a little better than this.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough. All right, so. If you had one useless superpower and it has to be completely useless, what would that be? To
understand women. I can't. That's very useful. I actually could use some of that right now. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big coffee drinker, so maybe like the ability to shoot coffee out of my fingers. Maybe like I don't know. It's like I don't want to go to Starbucks or Dunkin' every day. It's like I want a cup of coffee. There we go.
But then now you don't have to wait in line and stuff like that's kind of useful. I mean, maybe it's like coffee out of your finger, but like you only get like half a cup, so it's like, now I got to do something for the other half.
Maybe like every 12 hours, I gotta wait. Like I gotta wait for the next day to have my caffeine intake.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then like say I wanted to defend myself, like coffee in your face, and they get burned and scarred. But then I just wasted my caffeine and say, "Oh no, my coffee! I wasted on the face of a guy trying to mug me. Great, now you owe me a cup of coffee." I take him to Starbucks. Like, okay, you can rob me later. Buy me a grande, 2 creams, 1 sugar.
Last question: what's some advice you would give to other people that want to start up a podcast?
Simple. So basically, like, no idea is a bad idea. That's my advice if someone wants to make movies. Like with podcasting, you can talk about anything you want. Talk about like your favorite like TV franchise. Talk about something ridiculous you saw like on the street. It could be anything. I think there's a podcast for literally everything. There could be a podcast about a guy who's like looks at birds outside his window, or he like snoops at people. It could be anything pretty much. Today's episode, my neighbor's doing something. Oh my gosh, it's a body. Anything goes to podcasting. So
that's right. You're
have an idea.
Right.
Yeah, you have an idea, just go for it. Do whatever it takes, because no idea is a bad idea when it comes to podcasting.
Very cool. All right, Steven, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you outside of your podcast, and also where can people find the podcast?
Oh yeah, sure. So you can catch me on social media at Cine-Guy Steven on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's at Cine-Guy Steven. Also, my YouTube is at Directorman Prod, where I post my Cine-Guy reviews. It's just me talking about like a recent movie I saw. I gotta start working on my Candyman review, which was way overdue because I was I was busy editing a podcast episode last week, so I'm gonna work on that. And as for the show, we are at CernPOV.com. It's the Real Movie Critic versus Cine-Guy. You also find our various social medias on that page as well.
All right. If you want to talk to me, I am at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Twitter, at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Geek Elite Media for exclusive material that you can only get if you're one of our patrons. And whatever podcatcher you use to listen to us, please rate and review us. It helps spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is Hey Mitch on the Geek Elite Media Network saying always remember to
Geek out.
This concludes our broadcast.